Welcome back into the final play, and I'm joined now by Mike Triplett of the Times-Picayune. I don't think anybody saw what happened today coming, but what was your thought process as that fourth quarter overtime just unfolded, those two periods?
Well, look, you can blame the defense for part of this game. They gave up so many rushing yards, but the shocker today was the offense late in that game. I mean, we've seen some bad games by the Saints, but I don't remember ever seeing an offense just be able to do nothing like that. Over the fourth quarter and overtime, a total of negative 16 yards, no first downs, no completed passes. And they got the ball over and over again and just could do nothing with it. And that was stunning. We haven't seen the Saints like that in a long time, certainly not in the Peyton Breeze era.
No, everybody's used to seeing the Saints say, hey, play catch up with me, you know what I mean?
And they were doing that this time. I remember the moment when they went up by double digits for the first time all season. It's like, finally, they could maybe they did breathe easy. But it was the very next play that they gave up a 91-yard touchdown, and they knew they weren't out of it yet.
All right, we're going to let you try to salve the wound here in just a few minutes, but let's try to pinpoint some issues. They did look good early on offensively.
Well, that's the thing. There's no consistent problem with this team. They're not coming out flat every week. It's 2 weeks in a row they came out scorching hot. They look great on offense, although they did stall a couple of times again, didn't get as many points in the first half as they should have. But then they took advantage of some turnovers. They were at 24 pretty early on. That quick start wasn't the problem. Energy, effort wasn't the problem. It was even their defense's best performance on a decidedly sliding scale, but we kept saying maybe when they face a traditional drop-back offense, their pass defense will look better, and they did. They got an interception, they had some sacks, and except for those big, long run plays, they were playing bend but don't break defense. So, you know, there were signs that this was finally going to be almost a routine, easy win until the last 20 minutes. Yeah,
and then the other shoe dropped in the fourth quarter heading into the overtime. I don't know how anybody can explain that collapse, but I will ask you to try.
Well, I'll tell you who explained it the best, and really, you know, you got to give him credit for falling on the sword, was Zach Strief at offensive tackle. He ran into a couple of bad plays against the rushing outside linebacker, Justin Houston, gave up that safety, and he said, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, he said, I've never felt so personally responsible for, you know, a total offensive collapse. But obviously it wasn't just him, but, you know, there were those pass rush plays. They couldn't run the ball either. They ran the ball 3 times in the fourth quarter for a total of negative 1 yard. When Breeze did have time to throw, receivers just weren't open down the field. I mean, it was just a combination of everything on offense at the end there. And the defense in the fourth quarter actually played okay, kept giving the offense the ball back, but it was a combination of everything going wrong at once.
Yeah, it was really bizarre to watch. On defense, there was a lot of ugly out there, but there were positives. The turnovers you mentioned, encouraging sign?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't be too encouraged when they give up 230-some rushing yards, the 91-yard rushing touchdown. But yeah, like I said, encouraging signs in the pass defense. I mean, it's hard to look for any moral victories because the other thing is they're not going to face many. Every offense they're going to face is going to be tougher than this starting next week at Green Bay.
Well, let's get to the bad and the ugly. And by that, I mean, what the heck happened to the Chiefs scoring 21 unanswered points? The Chiefs.
Yeah, and it was like one field goal at a time for a while there.
Like paper cuts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, I mean, you point to that big play. It was a 91-yard touchdown, so it goes from 24-6 to 24-13, just like that. But then it was kind of slow bleeding after that. It was maybe over the next 6 or 7 drives, a total of 4 more field goals. And, geez, each time it was like, oh, they held them to a field goal. They're going to be okay. 3 and out by the Saints offense. Okay, the Saints would force a 3 and out. But then the Saints would give it right back, and they'd give up a field goal drive, and you know, I mean, it was slow bleeding throughout that fourth quarter.
Boy, I mean, how big was that Garrett Hartley miss too early?
That turns out to be huge.
That's huge. That's huge. Now, no rest for the weary, as you mentioned. They're off to Lambeau Field. How much damage control can the Saints do this week to get ready for that game?
Well, I mean, the time for talking's done, and a couple guys said that. I genuinely believe that there are some confident guys. Because they know they have a proven track record to lean back on. Maybe that's been part of the problem. Maybe they're leaning on their track record too much. But I do believe that some of the leaders, the things Drew Brees says, the things Jabari Greer was saying in the locker room, they believe these things. They believe that we can turn this around. If anyone can turn this around, we can. So I don't think this is a locker room that's set to implode. But if inner confidence versus inner doubt really is important in the NFL, then we're seeing the subtle effects of that play a major role in this season.
Yeah, and as Drew Brees said, you know, We're running out of time here, folks,
Yeah.
before you walked off.
The one good thing about a trip to Green Bay is if they win this game at Lambeau Field, that's a big win.
Yes.
That could immediately turn things around. But
Well, we're all hoping, and that's what I need right now. We
Yeah.
all need it.
yeah.
Mike Triplett, give me hope.
Yeah. Well, there you go. They beat Green Bay, and everybody's talking about, oh, this is going to be the greatest turnaround ever. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, the signs of hope are there have been good things in every game. I still think this offense can, they've had 7 and 9 seasons where they threw for over 5,000 yards, so maybe it'll be one of those seasons. But this offense can still be a top-ranked offense in the NFL. The defense can't get worse than it started out in the first 3 games this season. So the only problem is, so maybe they start winning more than they lose on the way out. But can they win 10 out of the final 13? That's probably what it would take to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a tall task, but these guys are up to it. At least they say so. Mike Triplett of the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll do it again next week and hopefully with a better result.